All right, we will call the public safety meeting for the city of Hudson to order July 8th, 2021. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Alms.
Here.
Alderperson Hall.
Here?
Alderperson Morissette.
Here, approval of the June 10th, 2021 regular minutes from our meeting.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, motion carry. Oop.
Aye.
Jumping ahead. Aye.
Opposed? Thank you much. Number 4A, Community Engagement Officer. This was on our last agenda. We got a little more information and specific, and I like it. So I think that is this now what you would give an applicant for a job description?
Yes, that is what the job would be. That is the job description we would use. Yep.
Okay.
Unless there were obviously any amendments that this committee or the council wanted to see.
Did you
I
guys
think
have
it looks
a chance?
good.
What's that?
I think it looks good. I'll move to approve.
I thought so too. I'll second. Yeah, I thought you did a good job. The person's going to have a lot to do.
It is, and that's you
That's been on your
you don't think
your
about
agenda.
how much there is that goes into something like that until you see it on paper. So at first, when you asked for a specific, I'm like, what more specific do you want? But then when I started creating it, it became clear that, yeah, there's a lot that I probably hadn't even thought of at the time. So
So would he be a third in command as a lieutenant, or where's?
this would be a patrol level position.
So where does he fit in the?
He or she.
Oh, a supervisor is the lieutenant.
Supervisor would be the patrol lieutenant.
So,
Yeah.
he has no, but he's gonna work hand in hand with you. Because you are also the public relations of our department,
Yep.
okay? Now, would you see him out in front of the microphone if something bad happened, or is that your job?
It depends, but we would definitely use them as the public information officer at times too. Yep.
Okay.
I do want to clarify, or she, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right. Very good.
Thank you, Bill.
And so you would feel comfortable that they're qualified enough to answer for your department?
Once they were properly trained with the proper experience, yes, absolutely.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Who's handling social media right now?
We have Melanie that puts stuff on there for us, and then we have Tracy Hall and Pete Schultz, who's a supervisor. I think those are the only one, and myself, but
Okay.
I hadn't had a Facebook account for about 9 months, so I wasn't able to do it. But it's just a
Oh.
very few number of people, and
No,
I don't
it'd be
think we
good to
really
have
do
somebody
anything on
who's,
Twitter.
that's their responsibility and,
Frees up some detective time, wouldn't it?
Frees up a lot of time.
Okay.
A lot of those responsibilities are split between, multiple people right now.
And for the public as well that have not read this, they will be a sworn police officer with every capability of a regular patrol officer,
Absolutely.
and will be used to that effect when needed.
Yes. Probably primarily, depending on how much this stuff takes them away from that. But
Right.
yeah, they'll be a full-time sworn police officer.
Good. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We recommend that to the full council on the 19th. Number 4B, discussion of the car show on the Dyke Road. Now, we all remember this. He wanted to be on the Dyke Road the first time. Didn't work out that way because of COVID. Where are we at with that, chief? No issues?
I don't have any issues, no.
And he's got good participation.
He's
with
got good participation. I think he's got a good plan. I told him, that we could work with Public Works or he could work with both us and Public Works if we needed extra barricades or signage or, enforcement down there. But, it's not a ticketed event. It's not it doesn't qualify for a community event issue. So I really don't see any issue with it.
does he need to have any additional insurance other than each person having their own car
No,
insurance?
each person's own car insurance will cover that.
And then what is the plan for getting people on and off the dike to keep things safe for the pedestrians that are on the Dike Road.
Yeah, so we have to finalize that yet. It depends on the number of people that are participating. If we just do, one side and leave the other side available because, there might be an emergency at the end where we have to get vehicles down to the end too, so we have to make sure we allow plenty of clearance for that. So I don't think parking vehicles on both sides is gonna work, so we may have to take some of the benches that are on one side and move them to the other side, or garbage cans or things like that, just to allow people to be able to still walk and vehicles to get through, but
Okay, because the concern that I have is when all of those cars are exiting the Dike Road at 10:30,
our plan is to have somebody there for traffic direction.
okay, so.
So
a
similar to what
police
we did this
officer
last
will-
weekend to get people out safely, right? We can manage that through that intersection, get them onto the roadways, and then
Okay.
they'll be okay there.
All right, so you'll have some police officers stationed there to direct things, okay?
Yep.
I will move to approve, as long as the police chief is happy with the final plan when it is completed.
I'll second, but I do have some other questions.
Oh,
Do you know if he's got a defined date? Looks like it's 21st or 22nd,
No defined date as far as I've been apprised yet.
because one is a Saturday, one's a Sunday. No issue between the two.
Should
No.
we recommend one or the other?
I don't know. I think the delay in his scheduling was the availability of the participants.
Oh,
So,
Gotcha.
but I don't see much difference because it ends at 10:30
yeah.
in any night.
When it
It's
goes
still
to
early
council,
enough
will
on-
there be a definite date then?
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know. I'll call him, tomorrow or next week and find out.
well, the motion
If he's
could be
revised his plan.
contingent on allowing it on the 21st or 22nd, unless you guys have a preference.
I don't see a need to make a preference unless the chief has a concern about one night or the other.
I mean, it depends on the weather. It'll be busy either Sunday afternoon or Saturday night. It's gonna be busy either way.
Well, it's gonna be Sunday night if it's
Be
on
Sunday evening.
Right. Because lights, I think, were a big
Yeah.
thing about
No,
this.
that's right. No. Okay.
He probably will want Saturday so that, because if he's
Better
got
turnout.
people from out of town coming in, they'll want to leave on Sunday instead of, so I don't have a problem with Saturday night if the chief doesn't.
Anything else, Bill?
No.
We've
Any
already
further
got a-
discussion?
We have a motion, yep.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I made the
All in
motion.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thanks. He should be happy about that. He's been wanting to do that.
Well, didn't they do it last year down in the
The-
In
parking
the
lot?
parking lot, yeah. And everything went smoothly for that,
It
didn't
went
it?
very smooth.
Yeah. 4C, discussion of the Taste of Hudson 2021 event of the Hudson Rotary's Taste of Hudson. As the issue sheet says, they've done this a couple years, it was off last year because of COVID. They had a great success with it year before.
Yeah.
And this one's going to be even bigger.
Yeah. Do we have to
Yeah, how many
recuse ourselves
tickets?
as Rotary members?
No, because it doesn't interest you and financially or does
No, it does not benefit us financially.
How many tickets are they selling this year?
Let's talk about 500, and it could go up to 8 possibly.
Okay.
We're not sure.
Yeah, I still don't think it's gonna be, it's a ticketed event.
Yep.
It's securityed by Rotarians.
All night, yeah.
I don't know if you've got any inspection issues or anything.
We'll probably want to just go through there, because I'm not sure what they're going to do for cooking.
Yeah, well, it's about 11, we have 11, I think. I think we have, no, maybe we have more vendors than that, maybe, but it'll be the normal like they did last time, and I think the only concern was gas propane.
Propane and stuff. So usually, if they can just contact us and we can get down there and work with them on what they need, it's just ahead of time, it's just nice to know and talk to them, so,
Yeah, it's either Brian Hines or Tom Van Pelt.
yeah.
What was the date on that, Randy?
That one is September, the event is September 16th, from 5:30 to 9. But setup is Friday, 1 to 5, tear down is 17.
Oh, it's a Thursday night, so it's Wednesday,
Thursday night,
Thursday and
excuse me,
Friday.
yep.
Mhm.
You would
15,
have,
16, 17, the event is on the 16th.
would you have an ambulance on standby?
I don't, probably not. but I
Probably
mean,
don't need it for this.
You know, we try and have them be visible at those things. So I don't want to say, we're going to
Right.
have one sitting there,
Right.
but
It's not
you
like an
probably will
athletic event,
appear and go away and appear again. And,
right? Unless you're athletic eating.
Yeah.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? What are you laughing at? Is something in my face? Okay. 4D, discussion on creating an ordinance governing massage therapy business. Bill, is this, oh, I'm sorry, Chief?
Yeah, so for the last 10 years or so, we've taken generally one complaint every year at a certain massage parlor in town. We've tried to do some things, tried to think outside the box with an investigation. We just couldn't get anywhere. We just couldn't get any traction on any investigation. This year, we were provided some information through a website that is basically a rating website, so you can go on there and view customer comments with a subscription, which we didn't have. But somebody brought forward printed off comments of the activities that are happening at these places. And yes, there are state laws concerning this stuff, and yes, we are very much more concerned with the human trafficking and sex trafficking aspect of what might be happening. But in order to prevent some of these establishments from even getting going in the future, to have a licensing requirement and inspection requirements that go along with an ordinance would be a lot easier for us even on the front end. If we get a complaint, we can go in there to do an inspection. We have a lot more leeway with licenses than if it's just a normal business that's not required anything. There are several communities that have ordinances that we wouldn't have to reinvent the wheel, and it would be pretty easy to work with the city attorney to get an ordinance created, or at least a draft ordinance that you guys could review. And I mean, I'm sure it would take some, here, go back, we want to see this, or, you know, some of that. But to get that process kind of started so that we can maybe start quelling some of these issues.
So currently, they don't need to be licensed? They just
I
can
think
hang up a
they might
shingle?
have to be required a
use
license, a license through the state or a
Okay, so they have
conditional
to have
use
a-
permit.
It's a
but-
conditional use permanent.
Oh, okay,
Not that-
not a license. Mhm.
Right. I think it makes common sense for us
Yes.
to proceed forward with it, just, we don't want it here.
Yeah, and I didn't know we didn't have one on the books for that, and, you know, it took me a good part of a week to read the entire code to figure out that we don't, so. So that's why I wanted to bring that forward to you guys to see if that's something you would want me to entertain, and then I can get working with Nick Vivian on that.
Which one did you prefer, one or two?
Did I attach both of them?
Yeah.
Yes.
Those are just samples,
They're pretty
right? Well,
similar, though.
yeah.
The content is the same, it's just in a different order, for the most
Yeah,
part.
and you know, it's probably gonna be structured more like our code is
Yeah.
structured, right? So it'll still look a little bit different, but the content is gonna be very
We'll
similar.
just forward it to Nick to craft it towards Hudson.
So these are from Oakdale and Woodbury. Did you contact their police chiefs to see, so how long have these been in effect there? And have they seen some improvements with having these ordinances?
Yes, just from the licensing perspective, it gives them a whole new area that they can start an investigation without having to try some of these dark website areas to try and find evidence, right? They can just, hey, we're doing an inspection.
Does somebody at the state level, is there somebody at the state level that could monitor those dark web?
Didn't the
Sites?
ATF do that?
What's that?
The ATF or the federal?
No, the DCI does that here, the Division of Criminal Investigation, but if you think of the scope of the normal internet that's open to everybody, and then you compare that to the dark web, you're talking about the equivalent size and nature, probably 7 to 8 times the standard internet. So the dark web runs deep, and there's an awful lot of activity taking place
Okay.
on there. And, now with the resurrection of some of these cryptocurrencies, it makes transactions undetectable, and it makes even beginning these investigations and following the money, so to speak, very, very, very difficult, because you can do basically undetectable transactions around the globe in about 2 seconds.
Oh.
So that's,
Yeah, and these guys that are doing the bad stuff, they don't want to be licensed because they're putting somebody on a piece of paper. and-
Yeah, so just
Yeah.
having a
and that's
license.
like what you find out from some of these places. They're cash only, no credit cards, no checks. They don't have a ledger for their customers, or if they do, it's a secret one.
Well, you were saying the other day, there's secret words that you gotta use to,
There's secret words and actions that you have to use when you go in there to let them know kind of what you're looking for. To not get too graphic.
no, but
No,
get it out there in public that we're onto them so they know that.
Yeah.
Don't bother coming to Hudson.
right.
But, yeah,
You're gonna get caught.
so we only have, we have 2 or 3 of them in town right now.
But we just approved one just willy-nilly.
Yeah.
just the other
Just
day.
Yeah, just the
regular
other day.
massage parlors,
Yes.
not, okay.
The other part of I think what you're getting at was addressed in the past, very, very strict
Right.
from the last left to center that was down there. They address a lot of those sex-orientated businesses.
Right on. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify, when you said 3 of them, just 3 operating on the level.
With 3 that
That you
we've
know
been
of.
made aware of.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, but I would have no idea how many actual people are
Sure.
practicing,
Yeah.
like in the privacy of their own home, to have people come and do massages. I would, there's no way for the city to track that.
Yeah.
Which is another,
yeah.
not as important reason, but another thing that an ordinance would help then.
And it won't hurt that, if the human trafficking, most of your hotels are trained to spot, at least get some red light signals to alert you on those kind of issues. So it's a partnership with you guys.
Yep, and and we have a partnership with the county, obviously, and then the state and the DCI, who's got an entire division dedicated to that, so. But we have to
Some teeth.
have some information to start with
Sure.
before we can really do anything, so.
Perfect sense.
One suggestion might be, like we do with the liquor license, and we were talking about doing with tobacco and nicotine, is that they need to pass a fire inspection in order to get the license. Might be another, we do it with liquor license, and Inspector Pruk and I have been talking about, we like to do it with the cigarette and tobacco or nicotine, whatever they are also. And maybe this, if it's creating a new license, that might be one to actually add to that they need
That's a
that
good,
to be completed too, so.
we'll talk about that when
Yeah.
it gets to the ordinance.
Yeah, and it would be good, because one of the places that was mentioned, was just a room with a bare mattress on the ground, and,
Here in town?
so.
Wow.
Well, sounds like it's needed. I'll make the motion. So what's the next step then? Would be to send this to Nick Vivian?
Yeah, I'll get in contact with Mr. Vivian and ask him to draft up an ordinance, and I'll give him the samples, and I'm sure he's got connections throughout the state that have, we're not reinventing the wheel with something that we're doing here, so.
We should be able to have this by next meeting to.
Yeah.
And that was going to be my question before I second your motion is, do you want to see this as a committee before taking it to council, or do we want to try
No,
to
we'll
get
do it at the next meeting.
Yeah,
And if,
Okay.
yeah.
The next public safety meeting or the next council meeting?
Oh, you want to go right to council?
well, I'm just thinking
No, so
time.
we'll bring it back here because we
Okay.
gotta add like stuff like that and we'll take a look at it.
No, it's a good idea, I think,
Yeah.
to take
I mean, it's
a
not-
little extra time. We can still get this done next month.
Yeah.
True.
And they're aware of the problem, so
So if we can get this, if we can discuss it at the next month's Public Safety Committee meeting, and then get it to the second meeting of the city council, we should be able to get that passed before the
Yeah.
end of August.
For sure.
Mid-August.
So what's your motion then?
My motion is to direct Chief Willems to work with Nick Vivian to draft an ordinance.
Second?
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That's a good one, Jeff, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
4E, discussion regarding the safety concerns on Red Cedar Pass and Linden Lane. Dean's here, thanks Dean for coming on this one, I know I received an email.
We all did, I
We
think.
all
Did we all? Okay.
Yeah, so thank you, good evening, committee members. So the intersection before us is Red Cedar Pass and Tribute Avenue. There was some confusion as to exactly what intersection it was, but, because Google Maps did not label it correctly, but it is essentially as you're entering the Heritage Greens neighborhood, if you turn left off of Heritage onto Red Cedar Pass, it's the next intersection. Essentially, it's a three-way intersection that doesn't meet at right angles, and that's part of the problem. I think is that the way the intersection is built, it's confusing as to who yields, who stops, who does what there. So the constituent had contacted us about looking at it because she's witnessed some near misses. At least I'm not aware of any actual crashes there, but we also don't want that to happen either. So previously we had switched the yield signs to a different configuration to see if that would help, and sounding like from the constituent that it hasn't upgraded the safety at the intersection at this point. So kind of was thinking outside the box, and I apologize for not having maps for you in advance of the meeting here, but I did sketch some stuff up if you want me to hand them out to you, if you want to look at it. Okay.
Well, there is this one on the packet, if,
Yeah.
I think I printed out 6, so I'm gonna ration them a little bit here, sorry.
And that GIS program is really working out nice, huh? Either way.
Either way, yeah, no, it works. So I was kind of thinking outside the box a little bit with some things that we could do there. So first option I put together would be to restrict the that intersection on the northeast leg, which seems to be the problem as so far as I understand it, to essentially be able to turn onto Tribute but not come out from Tribute onto Red Cedar Pass.
what's the map, what's the headings here? What's
North is up.
North is up?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so this isn't the intersection with Linden, it's the intersection
With Tribute,
with
Tribute.
Tribute.
yes.
It's Red Cedar and Tribute,
Red
okay.
Cedar and Tribute, yep. Linden,
So this
Google-
is the intersection that we had talked about before,
Before, yep,
and so that, the solution that we had isn't working.
according to this constituent, yep.
Okay, mhm.
I'm sorry, are you done? Were you done? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. In only though, but from which way, Red Cedar or Tribute? What,
So that would be, you could turn off of Red Cedar Pass from either direction onto Tribute, but you couldn't get from Tribute to Red Cedar Pass, essentially. So with all these, essentially what I'm doing is limiting the amount of motions you can do at the intersection, because the more actions you can take, the more opportunity for conflict there is.
and you're doing that with painting, arrow paintings?
So the arrows are just to kind of let you know what movements you can make there. I don't know that we would put the arrows on the ground, but for option 1, what we would do is we would barricade half that leg so that people can come in but not out, and would put up the no outlet sign.
Yeah,
So,
that's,
second,
dicey.
so if you go to the next
I don't
one,
like that
second one could be to just close off that entire access, so it essentially turns that one leg into a dead end coming off of Tribute. And so people on Red Cedar Pass could just essentially go straight through as if there wasn't an intersection there, and Tribute would just essentially turn into a dead end. And we do that with barricades, at least initially. The option 2A, the next page that I put on there is essentially option 2, but in a more permanent solution. So that, because of how the roadway network is configured there, there's like extra streets essentially that don't get used right now. And so, just thinking about it from an infrastructure management perspective, like if we got rid of that leg, there really wouldn't be any skin off our back, so to speak. It would be less that we have to maintain and yeah.
If I may interject, I mean, to me, that seems like a physical solution needs to be made for it to be completely. I mean,
Is it
it's
that
just-
bad up there, Bill?
It is. It's, if you take a look at Red Cedar, I would encourage you to go look at this intersection because it feels like Red Cedar Pass coming up to that square area is just a thoroughfare. I mean, it just
Yeah.
seems like it's a connection. Anyway, sorry.
Yep. Okay.
You don't have any numbers on how much that would cost to
I
just
don't.
eliminate it?
Yep. Thankfully, because to essentially be removing but not replacing, it wouldn't be as much as say a street.
Little dirt, little
reconstruction
grass seed, some
A
curbing?
little more dirt and a little more grassy, but yeah. But it wouldn't be, you know, like the scope of like a reconstruction project. It would be, say, half that or less even. So, the third option I put on there would be right in, right out. So essentially keep the leg open, so to speak, but just restrict what people can do once they get up to the intersection off a Tribute. So that would be with paint and arrows probably, with a yield sign on that.
And you
leg.
just turn
So
that square into a roundabout?
There's, you could. I know you're joking, but, or kidding about it, but for odd angled intersections like this, roundabouts are good for this kind of thing.
really kidding.
Yeah, so the drawback with it is they're expensive. And if we're talking about cost things,
Have
then
we had any feedback from the neighborhood besides this individual that,
I have not heard any, but I
have you,
know
or
Bill's.
it's been on and off?
It's been on and off. Currently, if you take a look at the front page, the yield sign is, there's a yield sign here and a yield sign here, making this Tribute, making this right angle, basically the right-of-way.
Okay.
One solution that I'm curious about is if we made an actual stop on Tribute here, so that the right angle has to stop and look
Okay.
both ways, and letting the Red Cedar go,
Yep.
that to me would be nearly the only solution outside of actually physically blocking it off, and I don't know.
So so I was thinking about, if there's a way we can sign this differently again. My concern with how the intersection is set up, that if you stop Tribute, because Red Cedar and Red Cedar don't go straight through, you have to turn to continue.
Right.
People who are coming off of Red Cedar going to Tribute might not know that they're supposed to actually yield to somebody coming, say, from Heritage Boulevard. It's technically a left turn, right?
How much,
Coming out Red Cedar Canyon,
Yep.
turning left onto Tribute, they would have to yield to somebody coming off of Heritage from Heritage to Red Cedar. and then
Oh, I see
continuing
what
on
you're
to-
saying.
Why
I
can't you put a
see what you're
stop sign
saying.
there too?
So it's essentially
Or
would be.
eastbound Red Cedar?
So it essentially would be what the yield signs are, but just replace them with stop signs.
I think that's a start, but it won't solve the issue because they're already ignoring the yield
Yeah,
sign.
yeah.
Up there or just?
I think the problem here is a geometric one that we're trying to solve with a signing solution
It's not gonna
that
work.
it doesn't seem to be working. So it's kind of why I was trying to maybe limit some of the access and geometry more to solve the geometric problem with a geometric solution. So
Joyce, did you-
how many cars are going through this intersection per day, do you know?
I have
That
not,
is a-
I don't know that we've
Done a
counted that
study.
one.
Okay,
but I have it available. I can put it up there if you want.
I think that might be helpful. what about turning, I mean, it wouldn't officially be a roundabout, but we make it a one-way around that square.
Well, that's essentially what option 2A is doing. I mean, we could put Jersey barriers up there for the time
So
being and find
2A.
funding. You know, just push it back off that person's driveway there
Right.
at an angle,
Yep.
for starters.
For
I
start-
don't
yep.
like these, this temporary signs, so I would be in
Right.
favor of 2A, but it's a cost thing.
Right, yep. I just wanted to put some solutions out there that wouldn't be
Absolutely.
costly, so.
Oh, I appreciate that.
So,
So,
I'm just looking at it, Randy, from my perspective, that it's kind of like the street to nowhere in a way. I mean, our access would not be hindered either way, and I kind of agree with you, is the easiest thing may be just that temporary shut it off, see what happens, and then you open up your options, but I mean, from our standpoint, that wouldn't affect us, but I mean, as far as cost and all that,
Right.
and then if it's not working, look at other options. And I'm very impressed with all the options, but it's not, hopefully too many options make meetings really long too if he comes back with too much.
I know, that's why I told Dean executive summary.
No, but this is good. So I mean, but that's just my 2 cents on it.
it's also helpful to see it in front of you rather than having to me verbalize everything too, so.
so if we looked at option 2, all right, how much is, there's these parking spots on Tribute Avenue on the north side of the square. How often are those used? Do you have any idea?
And Bill probably would know more than I would, but I've never really seen anybody park there.
There's
but
one
I'm
on
not
the
out there
map,
very
but
often,
There is
so-
one on the map, right?
Yeah,
But it would be people that are visiting those two homes there at the top, right? Generally.
Well, there's places to park, I mean, but you're talking about the one with, by the no outlet, the yellow sign right there on there?
So underneath, so underneath
Yeah,
the,
so-
the no outlet sign, there's this white car parked on,
Right.
on
And probably parked to visit one of these two homes.
one of those two homes, yeah, and it looks
Right.
like there's enough room for 2 cars there.
Right.
But I'm thinking that if we blocked off Tribute Avenue, so if you look at option 2, you've got the barricade at the west end. If you put it at another one at the east end, right after the driveway, so that the driveway isn't blocked, then we would block, so then that would essentially be the same as option 2A, we just wouldn't have the grass there. And then
Temporarily,
and then later on, we could see how this works.
figure it out later.
And then if it's working really well, then when these streets are redone, then we could consider the grass for that.
I think we need to have a neighborhood meeting up there.
That would be a
before
good
we do
idea.
any blocking it off. We just don't want to come in and all of a sudden that's closed on neighborhood, so.
sure.
Well, it kind of it doesn't really affect the Red Cedar Canyon neighborhood because it doesn't affect them getting out
Correct.
or into that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Correct.
But it could affect 2 neighborhoods there. Red Cedar Canyon neighborhood and the,
It'd be a great solution for Red Cedar, to be honest. Those travelers there, then they don't have to worry. I mean,
What's your pleasure?
yeah, what do you think about getting together with, I think that's our first step, is getting together with the HOA at
Okay.
Heritage Greens. Would you be open to joining me in a meeting with them?
Well, is
And go over
there,
solutions?
is there an HOA for Red Cedar as well?
There is as well, but
Just have a
like
representative.
Chief and I were talking about, I mean, that doesn't really
I
enter
think-
into it.
Well, I think it would be wise to invite
Just have a representative.
both
Sure.
neighborhoods so that they know that they're being consulted and that they're concerned, whether
Sure.
they've got concerns or not.
So that would be before or instead of a neighborhood meeting? Like a broader neighborhood meeting for it, like somebody was mentioning about that, Randy?
Well, I mean, the HOA meeting can be a
okay.
broad, right? I mean, everybody in the neighborhood
Yeah,
invited
you know,
to it,
send
you
out
know what I
the
Yeah.
notices like we do for the other projects now.
Okay,
All right,
gotcha.
and he's, those two homes specifically, obviously, that we want them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's this bigger building here?
That's, special,
Special needs apartment.
special needs apartment.
So they'll have to be notified as well. And I assume they use the park? Is that a park? Or what is
Kind of a
this?
green space.
Kind of a green space, which is never really utilized.
Is it taken care of or overgrown?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
HOA takes it.
That was my next question was, okay, so the city isn't
not a
taking
city.
care of it, the
Oh,
HOA
HOA.
is, okay.
So,
Yeah. Excuse me. Could set up a meeting.
So let's start it that way. Set up a meeting with all the principals and then we'll go from there.
do you need a motion for that, or we don't, right?
No,
Okay.
no. And then when we take formal action is when we would take a motion.
Yep.
And I would like the meeting to be noticed so that if all of the Public Safety Committee members
Yeah.
attend, I would like to attend this to hear what everybody has to say, so that we can all
Okay.
attend it without a problem.
Okay. Is there any day of the week or when would you want to have the?
Not on Monday nights.
Yeah, that
Just
doesn't
every
work
other-
for me very well either, so.
Whatever,
Anytime.
you just
Okay.
come up with some dates and we'll pick it and
Okay.
try to get it to it. But make sure it's geared towards the neighborhood, not necessarily us.
Right, okay. But before our next public safety meeting, then
Try to,
probably. have
yeah,
that.
for
Okay.
sure.
All right.
And then if you could follow up with your, well, or Bill,
Yeah, I can, yep.
and then tell them what.
I'll
we're
work
doing.
with you.
Okay,
Tell
sounds
them what
great.
we're doing.
Yeah, and then Chief, if you can put out the black box and get some idea of,
Who's there? Or who's-
yeah.
How many are
It'd be
there?
interesting to know how many people are going through that intersection.
Okay, you clear?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, thanks for taking the time, Dean.
Thanks, Dean.
See you next meeting with your other one. You should go to Public Works with that meeting, with that, the truck ordinance.
Oh,
Let them take care of that.
we already did it at Public Works, so that's why I was asking you.
Number 5, informational items. Anything?
Yeah,
Not for future agendas.
no,
This
okay,
is
yeah,
inform-
yeah, let's start, I'll wait till future agendas.
Okay. Number 6, EMS.
EMS, call volumes for June, we had 104 calls in the city of Hudson. 82 of those were emergent responses, 22 were not. Average response time, 3 minutes, 51 seconds. Fractile, 90%, 6 minutes and 38 seconds. Comparison, last year in June, we did 120 calls, so our volume was down quite a bit this year versus last year, which is odd to me. We had no mutual aid calls needed in the city of Hudson. We did 5 public safety standby, probably mostly fire-type standby events. And department updates, we did get approved for our additional ambulance, and I think we're gonna start that officially on August 1st.
Very
That'll
good.
be an ambulance from 1,500 to 2,300. And that crew will start here in Hudson. So they'll do crew changes here. You know, we have the 3rd ambulance sitting there. Makes more sense to have them just come here, and we have the parking, but then it will just go into the mix and be available everywhere. Just an update on our hiring, we've hired 3 casual paramedics and 2 full-timers. So essentially, the open positions we had that I reported on the last couple of months have been filled.
Very nice.
And then now with this additional truck, we have 3 more full-time positions. So it'll take 3 bodies to fill what we need for those hours. And we're working on that. So we did interviews yesterday, and Got another one tomorrow. But it's really slow. I think everyone's having the same issue right now, just trying to find people that want to work and are able to. I told you last month too that we added a bonus pay because we were short. Even though we have these new people starting, it takes at least 12 weeks to get these people through training. So they ride as a third medic up to 12 weeks. There's multiple things that they have to pass and be cleared on before we can let them go on their own. And sometimes when they have prior experience, that time gets shortened up a little bit, but so we added that bonus pay, and people are loving it.
Good.
Too bad it's only a short time, but it helped. We did have our first open shift on Father's Day. One of our medics was on vacation in Mexico, and apparently they had no pilots to fly the plane home, so his flight got canceled the day before. So Father's Day, Saturday of Father's Day was really a nice day. Father's Day wasn't. Volume was way down, so the truck that goes short is in Stillwater, and it was a really slow day, so we didn't give any calls away. But that's unfortunate because everyone was pretty proud of the fact that we've had no open shifts, but it's going to happen. Booster days, we had no issues that weekend. On Saturday, we had the trucks, drive through downtown multiple times. We posted both trucks downtown Hudson before fireworks and during fireworks. So I don't know if any of you were down and saw them. There was a couple of calls during or just before the fireworks right downtown, so they were there. That's my report.
Very
Any
nice.
questions?
No? Fire.
Yeah, our runs are slightly down from last year too. Nothing dramatic, but, a few. Although we had a few grass fires and we're busy on the 4th of July. I just want to thank the crews for the people who had enough staff to stay in town and take care of it, and nothing too major, but it was nice that we had that. The college, WITC, has worked with the National Fire Academy. They're actually bringing 2 National Fire Academy classes to Hudson Fire Station. One in August and one in September, which is really nice because a lot of times you have to go either out to Washington or go to the other part of the state. So it's really nice that they're doing that and giving people in this area the ability to go get those classes, and they're accredited classes through the academy. So,
Nice.
so that's going to be a nice option for us, and hopefully we'll try to work together with them more on that. So get the education for the people in the area.
Are you at full strength?
We are full, and we did just put those 4 new on. 3 of them are in the streets. The first time we actually hired with training, people that are trained, and they're all signed off. They'll still be on your probation, but 3 of the 4 are actually getting on the trucks now right away, which really worked out well. It was something different, but it was so that's nice. So we are at full staffing. We're actually about 1 over, I think, but we hired that was. So, and they're really seem to be fitting in well and doing a great job. So that's nice. And then one last thing, I'll mention next month through September 11th, we're gonna have our open house. Just nothing too fancy, but hopefully the community can get up and just take a peek at the station. So that's
Any
it.
questions? No?
Something to be aware of is that WITC is renaming and rebranding,
Yeah.
and they will be Northwood Technical College starting August 1st.
I didn't see that informational item. Jeff, police.
Only update is November 3rd will be National Night Out down Lakefront Park, so mark your calendars for that. It's always a good time.
August.
Sorry?
Did you say November? It's August.
August. Did I say November?
I thought I heard November.
So it's a little
August
chilly.
3rd. August 3rd. Next month. It'll be before our next meeting, so that's why I brought it up now.
Okay.
Anything else?
Nope.
Full staff at this point?
At this point,
Knock on wood? You got a good
hopefully
eligibility
after
list?
the next meeting, I'll be 1 short. Because you'll approve that position.
No. Okay. All right, number 7, communication items for future agendas. I have 2. I want dispatch CADNet next meeting if we know, to talk about with the county, that I brought up last time. And the other one would be the discussion of a, what did you call it?
It's just like a case manager.
Case manager. I want to start that discussion in this committee. I don't want to rush it out until we know what we're looking at and money-wise and whatnot. But I think it's okay for us to, look at how we are addressing our mental health issues and drug issues and anything else out there that these guys are tied up. They need help, crisis management. It's a good thing to look at. And I think you've got a good start for us to take a look at it. So if you could share that with everybody else, if you haven't already. I'd like.
Sure, and yeah, we can talk more about probably the background on it next time. It was
Yeah.
something that was brought up and
Yep, no, I know, we'll talk about it at our next meeting, that's why I'm asking to have it put on. Any others? Joyce, did you?
Yeah, the 15 mile an hour speed limit on Chestnut Drive is not working. I mean, we look out our window and just go, they're going way.
So you want to talk about Chestnut Drive
So we
again?
need to talk about Chestnut Drive again, yes.
We're gonna close that street off,
Yeah.
your driveway. Yeah, we'll have so many problems up there.
And I'm getting complaints about the deer, so, but we're gonna be talking about the deer contract again, aren't we?
That'll probably be coming up in August or September, probably August usually, unless he waits till the last minute and then we'll be scrambling.
Let's shoot him an email.
I've been,
Yeah, okay.
well, I was in touch with him, because anytime somebody mentions deer hunting on Facebook, I say, if you know anybody who does bow and arrow hunting,
Okay.
I'll send them there. I send him Lon's way, because he was down to 3 hunters, and now he says he's up to about 6.
Well, just make sure you're doing it properly so we don't get any Yahoo going out in the woods and shooting people.
No, I'm sending
You
them
know,
to
I'm
Lon.
very serious
No, I
about
am. I'm serious. I send them to Lon. I don't talk about that. I just say they have a contract, and that they should contact Lon if they want to be part of that program.
Next to mention all the other animals we're starting to get in town. I know the bear around, there's foxes behind us, and there's all sorts of wildlife happening. My wife got spooked last night by something in the tree screeching, and I think it was an owl. I don't know. But any other business before the public safety?
Do you want the truck road ordinance on the next one?
Yeah, we better get talking about that. Dean, make you happy.
What was that one?
We just got to reword the truck ordinance.
Oh,
Just got to update it.
okay.
Any further?
I did forget to mention too that we're moving out of the hospital, so EMS is getting moved out of the hospital. The Lakeview decided and was approved to put in a cath lab. And the cath lab will end up having to go in the area where EMS is housed today in the hospital.
Oh.
And our garage would become the new surgery suite. So that's a very big project, but they're on a fast track, so we'll potentially be out of the hospital in August. So we've been working on this since January, but just didn't know if anything was for sure. The temporary location we're going to is the old Denny Hecker auto dealership, which is now owned by Fury Motors on Osgood.
Yep.
Osgood and 36.
You guys have been doing COVID tests.
Yeah,
there.
COVID testing there. So the clinic's contract with Fury ends in August, and then we'll just move in after that. But there's a lot of things we have to do to that building to get it set for us. And then we're going to start building a new EMS headquarters on our clinic property, which is on Curve Crest. So the Stillwater Medical Group up on Curve Crest will build a new space there. So it's a really good location. Our choice was either out on the new property on Manning and Highway 36, but the Curve Crest property is much more centrally located in town, so. just kind of an update if you hear things or see it. you guys are
No
at least
changes
aware.
within Hudson then?
No, no changes here.
Thank you. Jeff, did you have something? No?
Move to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.